I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 9, and today we jump into the mod called Add Astra, and we venture into other planets. Hopefully you guys are ready. Getting started today, we are jumping back into some more All the Mods 9, and judging by this spacesuit, yes, we are going to space today. Now we need to get into Add Astra in order to get the All the Mods Star. One of the pieces being the top tier spacesuit main chest piece is actually needed in the All the Mods Star recipe. So that means that we need to go to the moon, we need to go to Mars, and then go to Venus, and then technically we can go to Glacio, which would be the last sort of planet in this mod. So to get there, I have constructed a space station, and I feel like this is just a nice centerpiece to our base. We started off very industrial and sort of everything being super basic. Now to have this space-ified sort of midsection to our base, that is going to be the place where we'll launch, and there will eventually be a rocket as the center point of our base. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. Now the quest book actually has a really nice progression and kind of explains and shows how everything sort of works in this mod. And I think that's a pretty cool idea. Now, the first thing you may notice is I have a spacesuit on. Well, kind of. I do have a spacesuit on. This is the base tier spacesuit, but I have it equipped in my cosmetic slot because I think we can actually get away with keeping our regular gear on and still going and having the use of oxygen and actually not dying. Because normally you do need to have this spacesuit on, but there's actually an enchant that this mod adds, and I'm pretty excited to use that. And this is called space breathing. However, I can't make it just yet because we need to go to the moon at least once before we can actually get this, because it does require moonstone. But notice, it will basically be taking our spacesuit, which I do want to wear cosmetically, and we can actually use this to craft this enchant, which allows us to breathe air and actually maintain our gear. And that's actually been a big complaint with getting into this mod, is I feel like you build up this really good gear, and then when you get to this dimension, you have to use a spacesuit, which completely wipes all of your gear. So this solves that problem. Okay. You're probably like, Chosen, that's enough. Let's actually get to these planets. Well, first of all, we need to make ourselves fuel and also build our rocket. And that's not as bad as you might think, but getting the oil to make the fuel, that's a whole process in itself. To be able to make fuel, we need this, a oil from Add Astra. And the way that we can actually get some of this oil and get it infinitely is by using Industrial Foregoing's fluid laser. So we just use a gray laser, but we have to be in an ocean, a cold ocean, just any ocean. And so long as we're in that ocean, we should be able to produce oil at a pretty decent rate. Now the process of getting that oil is pretty straightforward. We have our fluid laser base, we place it down, and we need to put a gray laser or lens in here, specifically gray. I don't think the depth honestly matters, but if we take a look at the fluid laser, we'll be able to tell specifically. It does say it needs to be between Y level 20 and 60. So let's just drop it below 60 and that should be fine. And then we just need to give power to these, and then I am going to add the upgrades into all of these as well. Now I'm only using 4 for right now because I don't think it's going to need a whole bunch of oil. We just need enough to make some fuel, and believe it or not, you don't actually need a ton of fuel to make it to all of these planets. So now all we have to do is toss the gates on here and we should start seeing oil being produced. And then we just need to tell it to send to our ender tank. So we'll go ahead and push it directly into the ender tank, and this is going to start filling up with oil. Now, really the only two machines that we need to fully get this up and running is going to be the fuel refinery, which is how we're going to produce our fuel. And then we also need a oxygen loader. This is what we're going to use to send water in, and it's going to produce oxygen for us, so that way we have oxygen when we're on another planet. So now that I have my oil set up and I have my refinery, I can go ahead and have this extract oil into here, and I have power, and you can see this is now filling up with fuel. And the cool thing is we can actually just use a tank to place in here, like from mechanism, and then water, I have it coming from a sink, and then we just need to send that into here, and then that is going to start slowly producing oxygen, which we can use to fill our tanks. Now, out of a ton of different space mods that I have played throughout my, I guess you can say, Minecraft career, I would have to say this is one of the simplest ones. Advanced rocketry being a bit more advanced, and there's definitely many others that require way more progression to be able to get to other planets. This is by far one of the easiest to get into, and I really like this mod. Now, we also need the ability to actually craft the rocket, and to craft the rocket, this is where the NASA workbench is going to come into play. This thing right here allows us to kind of see what we're going to need in order to craft our rocket, and then also start to put it together. And we can see right here with the tier 1 rocket, we can now see all of the different ingredients we are going to need in order to craft this, requiring quite a bit of steel. And I tell you what, having these things on AutoCraft will save you so much time. So if you ever find storage or Applied Energistics, auto-crafting these components are going to save you a lot of hassle. So I have everything ready to go. All I've got to do is put this sort of together. Almost like building a Lego structure. Well, a little bit more complicated. This is kind of rocket science, right? So let's go ahead and craft our tier 1 rocket. And voila. Yeah, it jump scared me. That was a little bit dramatic. But here we go. We now have our rocket. And notice it says that it has no fuel. Now, this is something I've never done. But can I put the rocket in here to fuel it? I can. So yes, our rocket was just placed inside there and is now max fueled. But we do have other ways of actually fueling this rocket outside of what you just seen there. But that is kind of interesting that this thing that we're going to be flying into space, we just put inside of an inventory. And yeah, now we're about to place it on the ground. All right, you're about to find out. Now, to be able to place this thing down, we do need a launch pad, and all of these ingredients are fairly straightforward. And I'm going to place it right here, and this fits beautifully. And this is the launch pad that we can now click our rocket onto. And just look at how gorgeous that rocket is. And the rockets do get bigger the higher tier you go up, because of course you've got to make it further in space, as this one will only take you to a space station or will take you to the moon. However, I think the space station does require you to take components with you in order to get there. Now, before I head into space, I do need to swap my main gear for the space gear, and I do want to fill up my main chest piece with some oxygen, so that way we do have enough oxygen to at least grab some lunar soil and get it back, so that way we can make that enchant that I was talking about earlier. So with all of this prep work done, I think we are ready to go to the moon. I don't know about you, but I am ready to go to the moon. And all we have to do is just kind of jump in and, well, launch. So I think all we have to do once we're inside of the rocket, by the way, is to just hit spacebar. And that is going to start the countdown. T minus 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff. And there we go. Oh, this is so neat. And I believe you can twist the rocket and even tilt it. Oh, it's very interesting, the fact that you can spin this thing. But we do need to be prepared because we're about to enter the, yeah, I guess we're about to enter space. Oh my goodness. Already. I mean, I feel like past episode 40, I can't believe we were already at this point. And, oh, here we are. The solar system. Now, right now, we are within our own solar system, and you can see all these individual planets. But we should be able to go to Earth with a tier 1 rocket and then travel to the moon. Now, notice that it says right here, if we want to make a space station, which you can make them on the other planets, it's going to require you to have ingredients, including desh, steel, iron, and desh plates. So desh we actually find on the moon. So we just, as of right now, just need to travel to the moon. And so as long as I enable this and click this, we should travel to the moon. I'm not in a spaceship. Okay, there we go. Okay, notice it says warning, by the way, and we're at Y level 500 or so, and we are descending fast. If you hold down spacebar, that's how you will slow down. And you have to do this, otherwise you will crash into this planet. And it looks like we're going to land right next to a hole. But yes, you want to descend very, very slowly. And there we go. We are here right above a hole. All right, so let's get off of our capsule. And then I think you can just punch this like a boat and you'll get your rocket back. And now we are on the moon. And this is the stuff that we need to grab. We need to grab lunar rock. I don't think sand is what we need. And we can actually fly around because we do have our flight, but this is the normal gravity. It is quite different than what you might be used to. I need all of this stuff to be able to make that enchant, and we don't ever have to use a rocket to get back here again, because we should be able to, well, fly around and place down a waystone to get back. Now, if you didn't have that mod, you would definitely have to relaunch your rocket from here. So it would have been good to have brought another space launch pad. Otherwise, you may be able to find one on this planet, but it's highly unlikely. Now, the first thing I want to do on this planet before we set up a waystone is to find ourselves one of the structures that are strung about, and I'm using the structure compass to be able to locate that. And this is one of them, a lunar tower. And these guys should be very friendly to you. They shouldn't be causing any problems. They're sort of like villagers. And this right here is the perfect place to place down a waystone. And so let's go ahead and craft one up. And we will call this the moon. Oh, nice. So let's go ahead and do the important part and get that space breathing enchant. Oh, this is gonna be so nice. Now we do need to still carry tanks with us, but I should be able to apply this onto my helmet. And we will now have space breathing on here, and I can completely wear my normal enchanted gear with all of its powers while still keeping the nice looking spacesuit on, but maintaining our full power here. I will, however, like I said, need to keep oxygen tanks on me. Oh, and yes, it's not actually the tanks, it's actually cans that we need to have on us. Now, something to note about the moon. It does have a day and night cycle, but it's just like the normal overworld's day and night cycle, which you would expect it to be a little bit different considering that the moon's normal day cycle is about like 30 days. So 30 days on Earth. So, I mean, these days and nights should technically last a bit longer, but what can I complain about? We do have night vision. So we should be able to find loot, I think, up in the very top of this tower. Yes, here we are. And we're going to find Dash. Now, we are going to find Dash elsewhere, and we're probably going to get most of it from mining by using a quarry. I think using RF tools or using mechanisms quarry is going to be one of the best ways to do that. Yes, and at the very top of here, we will find some moon cheese. Lots and lots of it. Now, if you just go underground, that's one of the best ways to just find some basic Dash. And once we have the Dash, we can then silk touch it. And this is going to make using, for example, the RF Tools Builder a whole lot easier, because all we need is this to just set our filter and then just let the builder sort of rip. And we'll let it go. I mean, honestly, it can go from the top to bottom. I just don't know how prevalent the Dash actually is in these upper layers, but it does appear that it's definitely below Y level like 15. It's even in the Y level 20s. Now, funny enough, there is actually a lunar dungeon right next to us. And I just noticed it whenever I came out of this cave. Look at this. Yes, this right here is access to a dungeon that does have some loot. And yes, secrets beneath. If we just pop down the stairwell, we should actually find an entire alien lunar civilization down here. Or at least what used to be one. And in here, we're going to find our enemies, the Lunarians. And there should be actually big deposits of, I believe, Dash that you can find inside of these areas. Right here. So yeah, if you find one of these, you're going to be pretty well off, because this is quite a bit of Dash. Yes, civilized life. It looks like at some point they were like, you know what? I just want to grow a spruce tree. Yeah, I want to see what this earth stuff is about. Well, there should be even more. Yes, this right here. Okay, this is new. I don't think I've ever seen this sort of structure. These are all decorative blocks, by the way. But do we have anything nice in here? Some ice, some emeralds, some more of these ice shards, which I think ice shards can be turned into cryofuel, which is a more efficient fuel. But we don't necessarily need it, I don't believe, to get to the other planets. But it's a nice thing to have. Ooh, and there's a stairwell that leads up here. So yes, kind of like a dungeon almost. And dead ends, lots of dead ends in this building. Ooh, there's another stairwell here. But isn't this the way that I came in? No, it's definitely not. This is all new. Oh, here's some chests. Okay, is there anything that I don't have other than the shards that are showing up here? More cheese and more shards. And enemies. Pretty cool little area, honestly. Now, I believe there's one other structure on this planet, and it's basically the same thing as this tower right here, except for it's more like a standard village. It really is. It's a lunar village. Now, farming the materials off of all of these different planets we're going to be going to is going to be very similar on all of them. I'm using an RF Tools builder, and I'm at -32, which is probably going to be a good distance for all of these areas. And at this level, I have it set to be a max vertical of 32, and then 64 blocks wide in all directions, making sure the box is solid. And we have our filters set to actually the lunar ores. So if we take a look at the materials here, I set it to in-ground forge, which seems kind of weird, but I just took the dash and put it in here, and it put in a bunch of tags. This is actually going to farm up iron ore, but the main thing that I want is, you know, the cheese, but also the moon dash ore. And honestly, the ice shard ore wouldn't be too bad either. So as soon as I flip this on, we should start seeing, things move in. We don't really want moon cobble though. That's why I should probably put the filter back in, right? So as soon as I put the filter back in, we should stop seeing that, and we should only see certain things flowing in here. Now, the reason we need all this dash is because this is going to get us to the tier 2 rocket. So at this point, it's now time to upgrade our rocket. So nose cone, and then we're going to have our dash blocks in the middle, 2 of the dash tanks, an engine in the bottom, and then the same fins from before. And we get ourselves an upgraded rocket, ready to take on Mars. Now, just like our last planetary adventure, this does need to be filled up with 3 buckets, and we should be ready to launch. There's no need, I think, for an upgrade as far as our suit goes to get to this planet. We just need to get here, and then we need to farm the resources planet has. And liftoff. So, I think we honestly have to get to this planet. I don't know if we can get to it from Earth, but I'm trying this out. I know we can go to the moon from Earth, but I don't know if we need to lift off from the moon in order to get here. We'll find it out whenever we get into our atmosphere here, or out of the atmosphere. But I am expecting us to need to potentially have a space station for this. I don't remember if there was that requirement. Okay, so here's our solar system. Okay, it looks like we can just travel directly to Mars. That's good. That's good. And yeah, we're going to need to farm a lot of material on this planet. So here we are in this dust-filled heat planet. Actually, it says negative like 60 degrees Celsius. So actually kind of a cold planet, right? I think. All right, so here we are. We're slowly but surely landing. And, oh, there we go. Just make sure we're falling into a hole again. It looks like the seed is exactly the same as the moon seed. Like, didn't we just fall into this area? Is the seeds the exact same? That's something I never noticed before, but is pretty cool. So yes, very cold because this is a snow block. And then these are all the conglomerate. I've never seen, I don't know if this is new, but I don't remember this block being here. Kind of a pinkish looking building material. But there are materials that we are going to need here, being Ostrom. And there's very few buildings that you can actually find on this dimension, but they do exist, and they do actually contain Ostrom. Now, this right here is that structure that I'm talking about. It's called a temple. So in Ad Astra, Mars Temple, and there's a couple of hidden little Easter eggs in this building. So at the first glance, it's empty. There's nothing here, but the secret lies right up here. So there is a hidden chest up in the back here, and this can sometimes contain, oh no, here it is. This is an Ostrom block, yes, hidden in the back. So you could just hunt these down and find blocks of this material, but the best way to find Ostrom, and well, the only thing you can really do on this planet, aside from it being a really cool, dusty looking planet, is to go underground and, well, not get attacked by these mobs. But yes, Ostrom is the thing we are after, and we need to travel into the depths of this planet to find it. Now, Ostrom ore looks a lot like this kind of purplish dark coal ore, sort of. And so I'm definitely going to need a ton of this. Now, I could probably just mine it. That might be one good way to find it, because we have such high efficiency on here, it would be good, but also having a quarry running is probably going to be a good idea as well. We are going to need it, I believe, for this suit. Well, We definitely need the calorite material, like a lot of it, but we also need it to make the netherite spacesuit, right? So we need ostrum as well in order to be able to produce these spacesuits. And we're going to need 18 of these spacesuits in total to make the improbability probability devices. Yeah, that's a mouthful. But we're also going to need some to make our next tier ship. So I better get to mining and quarrying. I tell you what, just running around like this is just crazy. The fact that we have the enchants we have on here, such as the air affinity, means that I can just run around and just hold down the vein mine key, and I can just insta break everything while also flying around. So I will say it's probably a bit more efficient for me to just run around and use my vein miner with our really high fortune 7, to get tons of this stuff. So we already have like 500 ore right here, and this is just barely farmed to stack. So yeah, I would say what we have is currently a bit better. Manual farming for the win. Now, I know we're just zooming through the planets, but right now is where it's going to get a little bit more challenging. Now, to be able to go to the next tier planets, to be able to move into Venus, I think we need to upgrade our gear and also upgrade our ship, but we do need to upgrade our gear, and I think that's to just kind of withstand the burning effect. Because if I remember correctly, I think Venus will catch you on fire. Yeah, I would say we would definitely burst into flames, like spontaneously, at 464 degrees Celsius. Ouch. At this point, I am making the netherite space gear, and this should hopefully protect us from that heat. Now, at this point, you may be wondering, well, Chosen, didn't you just put like an enchant on your helmet? Well, there's actually an enchant that will prevent us from burning as well on the planets. But we still have to make the suit and get there with the suit and find the material before we can actually go ahead and make that enchant. And this also, to be able to make that, requires me to go to Mercury, not Venus, even though Venus is where we're going to find our other material. Now, this is one snazzy looking suit. Look at that. We're all netherited out. Now we have an orange helmet, which is a bit more fitting for me. So let's go ahead and make our next tier rocket. And instead of going to Venus right away, I think I want to go to Mercury. And that is going to allow me to get that enchant so I can get my normal gear ready to go for this dimension. But here we are, tier 3 rocket. Prepare for danger, it says. Oh boy. And then we can just refuel it just like anything else. This is why I said this mod is just super simple to get into. There's no real like crazy thinking about it. You just simply make the rocket, fill it up, and then you're ready to launch. If only real life was that easy. Look at this rocket. They are just getting much nicer. I love the modeling on all of these. I think they were done fantastic. And well, let's go ahead and just head off, right? We're going to Mercury first. So we'll keep that in mind whenever we get to our launch screen. But I do want to show you what it looks like from the inside of the cockpit whenever we launch, because you can rotate this. Oh, and it just gives a really cool effect whenever you rotate your ship. Oh, how cool is that? So here we are again at our solar system selection page, and we want to go to Mercury. Right, tier 3 rocket. We're equipped with our gear, so let's head straight to Mercury so we can grab a little bit of the soil from this planet. That is going to be something I want to do first thing. That way we can get those enchants and equip our normal gear for the other planet. This place is pretty dangerous looking. Yeah, full of lava. But yes, the seeds have to be exactly the same, because this looks exactly the same as the last planet, like as far as the terrain generation goes. Now, Mercury, by the way, has some really cool looking deltas. So tons of different nether based materials. This is the main thing I am after though, so I can craft those enchants. But yes, kind of a nice looking planet. I mean, besides all the crazy lava everywhere, that's a downside. Now, as far as structures go, this place is pretty much void of them. So now that we have our ingredients, back to the base it is. So here we go, space fireproof. And this is going to allow us to wear our normal gear in this dimension. And I think this goes on our chest piece. So just equip that. And we are now ready to use our normal gear. So now it's time for us to go to Venus. So let's go ahead. And here we go. This is hell away from home. Nothing like Venus. The good old hell away from home. Okay, so I did have to re-equip my other gear because I did not refill my oxygen tanks. So, we're coming in hot. Whew. Yes, here we are. So we have some new mobs, it looks like, to sort of play around with. These guys look friendly. Oh, okay, not so friendly. You guys are not friendly. Okay. Well, there we go. Apparently they dropped some rotten flesh, so we need to keep an eye out on that. But this looks like a bunch of ancient debris. It does look like ancient debris, but it is not. It's definitely a decoration material. But there are ore in this dimension that we actually need, and we're going to need quite a bit of it as well. Man, what an ominous view just wandering through this planet like this. Oh, wow. Now, there are some special creepers over here. Well, not a creeper, but piglins. And look at this little fella. He's like a little dog with one eye. That's kind of adorable. It's a zombified Figro. Yes. You're so cute. Aha. But I believe this is the stuff we're actually looking for. Ah, right here. Okay, so all I have to do is silk touch one of these. Well, I'd probably be better off actually not silk touching it and just start farming for it, because we're going to need quite a bit of it. Thankfully, the calorite ore just stands out like a sore thumb. Now, you will find a couple of structures here, and yes, this is going to have those Figro mobs all around here, and there'll be tons of chests with all kinds of loot. All kinds of loot. And I don't know if any of this loot is going to be helpful to us. I don't really want to steal from these guys, but yes, you'll also find these villages that will have even more loot. And I think there's ancient debris, believe it or not, inside of these structures. I remember correctly. I remember harvesting some from them in other mod packs. Yeah, when I mentioned creepers earlier, yes, there are special creepers here. A sulfur creeper, apparently. Do these drop anything special? No, it doesn't appear to. Now, if you're having a hard time finding these ores, I can give you a little bit of a tip. You can actually use Ars Nouveau to do this. So you'll need a scrying right here, and then you just take your ore that you're wanting to look for, and you feed it to it, and then you can hit it with some manipulation essence to extend time, and then when you activate this, you'll be empowered with vision that will kind of let you find where ores are at. It's honestly pretty cool. It takes a little bit of time, but you'll notice an effect pop up that's called scrying. And this is going to be insanely useful if you're needing to find a bunch of this stuff. And you'll see right here that with scrying enabled, I can now see exactly where these ores are in the walls, finding these large deposits all over the place now. It honestly feels like cheating, and you can do this on any block in the game, to be fair. So with that, in a matter of minutes, I was able to collect over 1,000 raw calorite ore. That's really, really nice. And I hope this is going to be enough for all of our armor needs that we're going to need, because this is the main thing that we needed it for. We needed it for the chest piece, which is going to require quite a bit of it. And we need 18 of these chest pieces. So this should hopefully be enough. But I still want to go to the final planet. And so I want to make the highest tier rocket, and I want to head to Glacio. Now, just for the cosmetics, I do want to go ahead and I want to get all of this crafted up. This is the next tier spacesuit, and this is what it looks like. It's pretty darn cool. Honestly, I absolutely like this thing. So let's just jump right into this. Get our tier 4 rocket made. Oh boy, I think it honestly went in my bag, right? Tier 4 rocket. The sky is the limit. And this rocket is much, much bigger and is a very nice centerpiece, I think, that fits perfectly in here. But this one, just like the other one, needs to be filled up. So let's go ahead and fill it up with fuel. Even though these rockets are getting bigger and traveling much further, they don't require any more fuel than 3 buckets. So like I said, simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. And here we go. This rocket should allow us to actually leave our own solar system and travel to an icy planet. And that is going to be Glacio. And I think we have everything ready to go to be able to get there. So let's go ahead and fire this rocket off, and I'll meet you on the other side. Now that we're on the navigation screen, you can see Proxima Centauri. This right here. So I believe Proxima is here, but are we traveling to the moon? Or is Proxima the moon and Glacio is the planet? I don't actually know. It's the planet. I believe, yeah, Proxima is the actual solar system, right? I could be completely wrong. But let's just go here. Apparently the temperature, and it does have oxygen, by the way, But apparently the temperature is -20 degrees Celsius. That's a pretty chilly planet, I will say. All right, and we're making our way down. And just like all of the other planets, we do need to slow our descent or we will crash. And I wonder if this planet also... Oh, it is, yeah. It also has the exact same fundamental layout. Very cool. But man, look at that moon. That is crazy looking. I love this planet. Even though it is an icy planet, it has some of the cutest little creatures on this planet that I absolutely adore. Like the glacier ram. I love these. They're so cute. There's also some other mobs as well. And this has this really nice, like purple sort of color, but very, very snowy here. Tons of packed ice and this huge, huge moon. Look at that. I mean, honestly, that right there alone is a screenshot. Now, while this planet is cute and all and has some nice fluffy creatures, it's just filled with ice. I think it is just all like this. There may be a couple of different biome types, but it's all definitely frozen biomes. And yeah, it's just kind of a nice icy planet that you can actually breathe on. We don't need oxygen to be on this planet. And the way the origin sort of works here is you're going to have the glacial ice shards, which you'll find them sprawled all about, but you're going to have pretty much your normal vanilla style ores lingered about, and it goes from this glacial stone, and then the entire bottom side of the world is all deep slate, just like this. Now, aside from setting up space stations, this is basically the entirety of the mod as of right now. So now for the final thing, which is the thing we needed for the All the Mods Star, and that is the fact that we're going to need 18 netherite spacesuits. And this, yes, is going to be a crafting thing that I've got to do over and over again. I tried to get the auto crafts to work, but for some reason it just kind of glitches out and doesn't necessarily like messing with these tanks, I believe, and even the oxygen gear. Just something about them, it just doesn't like crafting with them. Now with 18 of the regular suits, we can now start to work on this, and my tanks and my engines are slowly building up. We need 36 of the tanks, 36 of these blocks, and then 18 of the engines. And that is going to be this suit. Oh, and also I'm going to need 36 plates. And then for 18 of these bad boys. So there we go. Now we have crafted all 18 suits that we are going to eventually need. Oh boy. This right here. I mean, this is one of the many components that is honestly kind of a pain to make, and we've got it done. Now, I know I didn't cover the space stations, but believe me, the space stations are really, really cool. However, you do need oxygen nonstop if you're going to utilize this, unless you fill in a space and then actually use the machines in here that will fill up to a certain range of an area with oxygen. But yeah, it doesn't have a huge range, and you're going to need quite a few of them automated and set up everywhere for it to work. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Guys, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Tech Josh. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord and becoming a Discord premium member and supporting one of the best ways possible. But outside of that, supporting me over on Twitch as well. Thank you so much for your amazing support over there. You know I love you, dude. I thank you so much. And well, guys, if you enjoyed, I'll see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.